Hello students, today's agenda is to check test. We'll learn about arc lengths, and today you will be able to do 11.1a. Today students will be able to find arc lengths, angle measurements, and circumference. We're going to be using this formula, which is arc length divided by the circumference, which is 2 pi r, is equals to theta over 360 degrees. So we know that any circle has a total of 360 degrees around its circumference, and the total circumference is the distance around that same circle. So that's why you have the totals, total in degrees, total in unit measurement, depending on what you're using, meters, inches, feet, whatever unit you're using, that it's represented for the circumference or distance around that circle. Since this part, the arc length, which I'm going to show you in a minute, is part of the entire thing, the same thing here. This is the measurement of that segment in degrees. This is part of the whole, and this is part of the whole. So this is number one. It says find the arc length. This pink section or length, that's what we're supposed to look for. So this is part of the entire circumference. And 78 degrees is part of the entire 360 degrees. Okay, so we're going to write that formula that I showed you earlier, which is arc length over the circumference, which is represented by 2 pi r, equals theta, which represents the degrees of that angle, over 360. You're always going to use a butterfly. This forms a proportion, so we're going to multiply whatever is in one wing equal the multiplication of whatever is in the other wing of the butterfly. So arc length, do we have the arc length? No, we don't. So we're just going to represent it with x. 2 pi r, we start substituting whatever we have. So it's 2. We know that the value for pi is 3.14. And the radius, which is 8 meters. That's going to be equal to theta is the measurement of the angle, which is 78 degrees, over 360 degrees. Draw your butterfly. Okay, so that's one wing. You multiply that equal to this other wing. Now we just need for the butterfly and the little tail. Okay, so x times 360 equals, the other wing is 2 times 3.14 times 8 times 78 degrees. And so x times 360 is just 360x equals, we multiply everything else. So 2 times 3.14 times 8 times 78 equals, and we get 3,918.72. Finally, we want to leave x by itself, and if it's multiplying, the opposite is to divide. This cancels, and you get x equals, so divide by 360, and that's 10.88. However, if you look at the thousands, I'm sorry about that. If you look at the thousands, this is a 5. 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 will give one more to the previous, to the hundredths. So we're going to write 10.89. And what is that? This measurement is going to be the same as what we have for the radius, which is meters. Okay, so the arc length is 10.89 meters. For number 2, it says find the angle measurement. So now they're asking for this measurement. That means that they want the degrees of that angle. So again, we're going to use the same formula, which is arc length over 2 pi r equals theta over 360. What is the arc length? This time we are given the arc length, which is 95.2 inches, over 2 pi r, which is 2 times 3.14 times radius, which is 112, equals theta. That's what we're looking for because we don't have the degrees of the angle. So we put x degrees over 360 degrees. We draw the butterfly. Remember, this is a proportion, so that's why we do, some people call it the rule of 3, regla de 3, or the butterfly. So 95.2 times 360 equals, and then I multiply whatever is in the other wing, so it's 2 times 3.14 times 112 times x. 95.2 times 360 is 34,272 equals 2 times 3.14 times 112 equals 703.36x. Finally, if we're multiplying, the opposite of multiplication is division. In here, I did not round anything because we have hundredths only. Okay, so now we cancel this side, and so x is equals to, we divide 34,272 divided by 703.36, and it's gonna give me 48.73. Again, this is 5 or more, so it gives 1 to the previous, which is in the hundredth. So 48.73. Anytime the thousands, the next value or the third value is 5 or more, then this will go up by 1. If it's 4, 3, 2, or 1, or 0, then this one would have stayed at 2, but it does have a 6, so it went up to 73.73. And because it's asking for the angle measurement, this will be degrees. Okay, now some people ask me, do I have to switch the x to the left? You can write, if you feel more comfortable, x equals 48.73 degrees. Some teachers or professors do ask for the variable to be on the left. Okay, for number 3, it says find the radius and circumference. So the first time we found the arc length. This for the second one, we found the measurement of the angle in degrees, and this time it's asking me for the radius and also for the circumference, like the distance around that circle. Again, we're going to use the same formula, which is arc length over 2 pi r, which is the total circumference, equal the degrees, theta over 360. And so the arc length, we're given that, which is 8 over 2 pi r. We can replace it with 2 times 3.14 times the radius, which we don't have. We keep it as r. Theta is the angle measurement, which is 32 over 360. Again, we use the butterfly. So 8 times 360 equals 2 times 3.14 times radius times 32. And so 8 times 360 is equals 2880, 2880, which is equals to, in here it doesn't matter, you can do commutative property and associative property to associate this first. So 2 times 3.14 times 32, it's 200.96, and bring down the r. Finally, if we're multiplying, the opposite of multiplication is division, so we divide by 200.96 on both sides. This cancels and we just have r, which is the radius, equals, so 2880 divided by 200.96, and that's 14.33. Notice how in here I do not give 1 extra to the hundredths because this is a 1. If it's 4, 3, 2, 1, or 0, we don't change the hundredths place. And so because this is radius equals, this is this measurement, that's going to be in meters. So if this was inches or feet, that's the measurement for both the arc and also for the radius. So 14.33 meters. So this one asked me to find not only the radius but also the circumference. So for the circumference, you're going to use the formula which is right here, okay, underneath the arc length. So it's 2 pi r. And so we just substitute 2 times 3.14 and times the radius, which we already found, which is 14.33 meters. We multiply 2 times 3.14 times 14.33, and it gives me 89.99. That if we had used all the other values in here, it will probably get closer, or it would give me the 90 degrees. Let me see, let me try that. So 2880 divided by 200.96, that's the actual radius. So I could just, that will be here, 14.33, 12, 10, 19. I didn't write it down, but let me use that one instead and multiply by this to see what it gives me. Times 3.14 times 2, it's 90, see? The more decimal places that you use in here, it gets closer to the actual value. But when we round, then we get an approximation which actually should be represented by this symbol, about 89.99, or we just put equals 90, and again it will be meters. So the circumference is about 89.99 meters, and that will be for every time that we round. This is the symbol that we should use instead of equal, approximation. Okay, with this we end our lesson. If you can please support our channel by giving us a thumbs up, by subscribing around here. This is the link to the next lesson, and here you will find the entire unit. Now you're able to do 11.18 and have fun.